What is up, guys? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some r/entitled people. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too, as it all truly helps out our channel. And don't forget you can follow us on podcast too now, so you can take us with you wherever you go. And you can also support the channel either by clicking that join button down below or heading on over to Patreon, where you can support us with various tiers and different things like that. And without further ado, let's get in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from S Brooks 0709, entitled Karen put an entire cancer ward at risk of the virus. This happened at a local hospital at the beginning of the pandemic. Being a top rating teaching hospital in the NC, whose doctors are working closely with the state government to try and control the spread, the hospital immediately initiated a lockdown, especially in the cancer ward. Only one visitor allowed at the time. Well, one entitled Karen wasn't having that. First she berated the people at the door, explaining the policy. When that didn't work, she snuck in when another group of people walked in and made her way to the cancer ward. A few minutes later, she walked up to the nurse's desk to ask for a mask because she had a little cough. She was escorted down to ER and given a COVID test. She was positive. So because she had to visit someone in hospital, she put an entire ward of immunocompromised people at risk. I never heard anything else about this, but I really wanted to know if she had been charged for the crime. And absolutely I hope she was, because how stupid you have to be with all this going on to even risk trying that. Oh god. We're going to go down to the comments to see what's going on down there. Putia Grayson, I hope I got that name right, said, "I hate people who say things like, I have breathing problems so I can't wear a mask." Rebecca, if you have breathing problems, you're a high risk, you'll get sick and die. Why are you at the mall? Stay goddamn home. BP on Reddit said, lol, Rebecca, Karen's daughter. Psycad77 says, the bitch needs to be charged to the fullest extent of the law, and if one of those people dies, she should be charged with negligent homicide. There are far too many people that believe COVID-19 is a hoax, which shows that some people are too stupid to live. Problem is, it's usually people they come into contact with who die. Hippopotamus1 says, I would say natural selection, but unfortunately, they are more likely to kill someone else down the transmission chain than themselves. The next person says, that's the problem with anti-vaxxers too. Most of them are fully immunised because their parents weren't morons, so they're not going to die of meningitis or whooping cough. It's their kids, infants too young for vaccines, people who can't be vaccinated for medical reasons, and other immunocompromised people who will suffer. Wow, what a story to start off with. And what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. Our next story comes from Ranjit Kumar Singh. Why do old people feel entitled to comment on your weight and then are pissed when you clap back? Hello folks, long time lurker, you know the rest, lol. Based on certain life experiences, why do old people feel the need to comment on your weight and then are pissed when you clap back? Well, let me explain what I mean with the following stories. Background, I've generally been a big guy. Had a period when I was fit and physically lost weight and maintained it for years. But the last 10 years, since I got a job as a teacher, it's been a struggle to maintain a work/health balance. I would start doing workouts, cardio or gym and be consistent for some days or weeks until I get a whole bunch of essays to correct, coupled with school events, etc. So then plans would get derailed for some time and my diet would go out the window too. This lockdown has afforded me some time to work on this consistently, so I've lost some weight and I'm still working on it. However, in my country, people, especially old people, feel entitled to greet you based on your weight. Story 1. I'd left work during a free period to pay a bill, which was literally down the street from where I work. So I'm walking minding my own business, and some person would shout, "Hey, where are you going with all that weight?" So I replied just as loudly, "By your mother." I'm too polite to people to tolerate this shit from them. Story 2. Another time, I'm walking home from work. 15 minutes, but it is hot, like frying egg on the sidewalk hot. I live in the Caribbean. It was the start of a new school year and I'm intending to do my afternoon run as soon as I get home, because I know if I wait until the evening, I'd lose that motivation. So because of the heat, I'm sweating buckets. I spot an elderly lady I know from my area walking in the opposite direction. I'd usually say good afternoon or another pleasant greeting as I pass and be on my way. Before I even get to say that, she says, like you need the exercise, like you need the exercise. Direct quote, no lie. So I pause in shock and then I'm like, screw this in my mind. So I reply, and you need a facelift. She's angry. I don't care. But she never did that again. Story 3. Just Friday I called out another old lady on said behaviour. So after 4 attempts of her mentioning my weight and me avoiding talking about that with her to send a subtle hint, I eventually ask her, so answer me this. What is it with you old people insisting that you must comment on another person's weight? What kind of reaction were you expecting? I know when I was brought up I was taught to how to greet people properly. Clearly you were dragged up. So tell me, what kind of reaction were you expecting again now? After some seconds of silence I said, I thought so, and I bounced. When I got home I told my mum, if an old bitch complains to you that I was rude, ask her first, what did she say first to earn that? Mum burst into laughter, ended her convo on the phone and immediately asked me what happened. I have a great aunt who is entitled in her own way and she loves to do this, but I'll post about her in another story. Stay tuned for that. And we're going to jump straight into the comments with Livy Kitty 2332. Oh my god, I have paid so much money to have seen all of this. Also, extra applause for being a teacher. Gotta give props to someone doing a job that deserves more praise. Also, I don't know man, I'm a bigger girl myself and I come from an extra large family, but I had one very entitled aunt who would comment on my weight. Meanwhile, she was so heavy she could barely walk. My father-in-law, who also thinks he has the right to comment on my husband's weight, has gotten to the point it made my husband depressed because his dad brought up stuff like diabetic amputations. We were both in our 20s. Finally I got so angry I blew up on him over text saying that, you cheated on your wife, Hub's mum. I'm living with this new woman but I'm still married to your wife after 3+ years. How about you focus on your own issues and not our weight, because we can lose weight, you'll always be an asshole. He hasn't talked to me or Hub since, but shrug. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. Our next story is from a dragon named Rye. Entitled people at the airport really piss me off. So I started my first job working for an aviation company at a small regional airport in my town. My job is to be at the front desk, so I greet customers, take calls, make calls, keep track of flights, etc. The job relevant to this story is the man at the gate that takes you to the tarmac and runway. In order to get through the gate, you either need to be authorised to have a remote so you can get in yourself, or have a gate pass that you come in the front desk and show me and I can open the gate for you. If you don't have either of those things, I can't help you. Now we come to the story. I was at work, obviously, and it was a pretty slow day, so I was sitting at my desk behind the counter, working on homework for college. I hear a car roll up outside the doors and look up to see a Suburban parked in the front of the gate. Assuming it was a pilot with a remote, I didn't pay it much mind. After about a minute, I hear honking and look up again to see the car still sitting there. The driver, a middle-aged man I'd never seen before, is looking at me through his window, making rude gestures. I just shrug and go back to my homework. If he needs let in, he needs to come inside. It takes this guy another 2 minutes of honking to realise I'm not going to open the gate for him. He comes inside, red-faced, which could have been from anger or the heat. It was pretty hot outside, and marches up to the counter. He says, "Excuse me," and I say, "Yes, how can I help you? Didn't you see me outside? Why wouldn't you let me in?" I say, "I'm sorry sir, but I can't let you in without a gate pass. Do you happen to have one on you?" He says, "Gate pass? I've never needed a gate pass." To which I reply, "Sir, it's a company policy and if you don't have a gate pass, I can't let you in." He's realising that he doesn't have a gate pass and his tone becomes really sweet, but all that does is scare me. "Can't you just let me in this one time? I need to go and check on my plane." I'm wary now. "Sir, if you have a plane here, you should have your own magnetic pass for one of the pilot gates. If you misplaced it, I can file for a replacement, but if you don't have that or a gate pass, I can't let you in without permission." Now he's getting frustrated again. "Why can't you let me in? I need to do maintenance on my plane, you dumb bitch." I'm stunned. No one has called me that since 4th grade. I'm a college freshman. I say, "I'm sorry, but I can't." And he cuts me off, yelling and screaming about needing to repair his plane so he can take his family for a ride, and blah blah blah, calling me every name under the sun. Eventually, the yelling brings my supervisor out of his office. He's a really nice man, but he looks pissed. The supervisor says, "What the fuck is going on out here?" Then the EM says, "Thank God, this bitch won't let me in the gate, and I have a pass." The supervisor says to me, "Is this true?" I said no, and EM cuts me off again, ranting and swearing about how I should be fired. The supervisor says, "Sir, let me see your gate pass and I can get you on your way." He says, "I don't have it on me." My supervisor's face is getting red. I've seen him explode like this only once before, and I wish I had some popcorn with me because the fireworks are about to start. The supervisor says, "You don't have it on you, and yet you have the gall to accuse my employee of denying you access with a card." His voice had gotten really quiet, and EM looked like he's finally realised how much of a mistake he's made. He says, "Well, no," and then the supervisor cuts him off and says, "Then what, pray tell, were you trying to say?" EM runs to the door, pursued by the supervisor. By this point, I'm dying laughing, tears running down my face. My supervisor comes back in, his face slowly turning back to pink instead of full on red. The supervisor says he's gone. I filed a report on myself for being unprofessional. You can get back to your homework. He walks off and I just sit there stunned. I hadn't been planning on reporting him for misconduct, but he's a good man who likes his job, so one of us would have to file a report. Now about the man, we found out later his cousin is one of the pilots for another aviation company in the airport, coincidentally the one my dad works at, and his cousin had told him he could drop by the hangar and say hello while he worked on his plane. What he forgot to mention to EM is that visitors have to come through the front desk. Me, who really manages visitors for the whole airport, not just my company, and can't go through the gate. They chewed each other out in the lobby the next day, and I happened to be there to hear it. Justice served. What kind of moron just thinks they're going to blag their way through an airport gate? I mean, come on, man. I'm definitely like a people watcher, and I would have loved to just been sitting there and watching that situation unfold. I'm someone who like goes on holiday and I like to sit on the balcony just watching people get pissed up and then cause arguments and stuff. I'm that kind of guy. I love it. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. Our next story is from Fred Zred. My entitled mother sits in the smoking area and gets offended that people are smoking. I have the pleasure of having a Karen as a mother. I'm older now and I'm no longer in contact with her. This happened when I was a teenager, about 15 years old, 2005. We went for lunch at a cafe we went to all the time. We ordered our drinks and food and went outside to wait. At this cafe there were two outside areas, a smoking area and a non-smoking area. Karen decided to sit in the smoking area. She is very against smoking and I warned her that this was a smoking area, but she was having none of it. A few minutes later, a small group came into the area and began smoking. Of course, Karen had a problem with that. Karen talking loudly to me so the group would hear her. "Oh my gosh, what's with the smoking? This is a family establishment. I can't believe these people." To which I say, "Let's go to the non-smoking area then." Karen says, "No, I'm not moving. I was here first. They should move." The group either didn't hear her or were ignoring her because they gave no reaction. Karen directed at the group, "Excuse me, would you mind not puffing your smoke directly at me? This is very disrespectful." She was acting like they were facing her and purposely blowing smoke in her face. They weren't. One of the group members says, "Mom, this is a smoking area. We're allowed to smoke here." "No, you are not. I'll have you thrown out of here for disrespecting me." She got up and went inside. I apologised to the group while she was gone. A few minutes later, she came back with the manager in tow. She said, "These inconsiderate people have been blowing smoke in my face and swearing at me. I want them removed right now." The manager said, "Mom, this is a smoking area. They're allowed to smoke here. As for the offensive language," and I cut in. "They weren't swearing or doing anything wrong. Mum, stop it." The manager then says, "If that's the case, Mom, I can seat you somewhere else." She says, "No, we aren't moving. Make them move." I had enough of this, so I went inside to get away from this. Mum did this all the time and I was sick of it. Mum stormed inside a few minutes later and said, "OP, we're leaving. This is disgusting customer service and we are never coming back." These threats were very common from my mum and she never stuck to a threat, at the misfortune of the staff of these places. We lived in a small town with two cafes, the other one being way too expensive for my choosing beggar mother to ever go to. I'm no longer in contact with my mum. She lives in another country and doesn't know my address. I'm just grateful that I no longer have to put up with her entitlement. Thanks for reading. Whenever I think of people like this that just want to complain about everything, all I can think of that is the Joker meme is like, Some people just want to see the world burn. That's all I can think of when I think of Karens like this. How about you guys? Have you ever met someone like this in the past? It's been a while since we've spoken about a Karen, I think. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you. Our next story is from Cassie. A guy thinks he owns me because he has money. This happened almost 4 months ago. I was dealing with a really bad breakup still, and of course a lot of guys started to message me, but I didn't answer or accept friend requests. A guy messaged me on Instagram, just a simple hi. I answered because he seemed so familiar to me. I had a feeling that I knew him. I just messaged him a, hi, do I know you? And we started talking. We found out that my uncle is his dad's friend, and he had seen each other before. The guy is rich, and when I say rich, I mean he lives in a mansion in the most expensive and luxurious part of Guadalajara. He flexed his money in every way possible. He had several cars, expensive sneakers, new phone every other month, designer clothes, shit like that. First red flag, I told him I wanted to start doing cosplay, but I couldn't spend my money since I was saving up for a new laptop. He said he could buy it for me. He wanted to buy the entire cosplay, including wig, contacts, heels, dress, props, everything, in exchange of pictures of me wearing it. Of course I denied. Second red flag, he was really pushy, like he wanted pictures of me doing anime girl poses and just nudes in general. At this point he was saying some really disgusting things to me like, I already jacked off to your pictures and I want to come on your face. I never sent him any nudes, so he touched himself to the pictures I already have on Instagram. So I stopped talking to him because I was done with this bullshit. He didn't stop messaging me. I had almost 30 plus messages daily from him. He sent dick pics, cum tributes and more. I messaged him saying that I was done with him and that if he didn't stop I would block him. He told me, and I quote, "You're mine, so shut up. I have money and you want pretty stuff, so why not make an exchange?" And told him having money didn't make him entitled to talk to me like I was an object, and he told me, "You should consider it. I can buy you anything." Again, I told him I didn't care about his money, and he told me, "You're stupid. You have to send me nudes. I can buy them off you. I'll pay you." At that point I had enough. I blocked him. I have to mention that he tried several times to buy me stuff and he wanted my address so he could send them. No thank you. I can't imagine what that guy could have done with my address. Lol. Update. A lot of you said I should tell my uncle. I did tell him, but we didn't live in the same city, so I didn't know what came of it. My uncle is 60 plus and he doesn't use social media. I called my uncle and here's some exciting news. My uncle said that when I told him, he's called the guy's dad a few hours later, telling him what his son did to me, with details, basically the whole story, telling him I was his niece. And the guy's dad was fucking pissed and so angry at his son. He was even angrier when he found out what he did to his friend's niece. He took away his credit card and his cars. Lol. I don't know if he got them back or what. I also asked him what his dad's job was because people were speculating that he was in the mafia, or at least his son was involved with drugs, and the guy's dad owns a hospital and some pharmacies. One of my first thoughts was what he was actually asking for and stuff like that. It must have been near on sexual harassment, so it could have been reported, but the OP replied to someone else saying similar below and said that they can't report that for that kind of thing in this country. Nothing can be done about it. And so I searched at that place and apparently it's a city in Mexico, so I'm not sure what the laws on sexual harassment and things are, but it sounds like they might be pretty lax, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway guys, what do you think of the story? Let me know in the comments below. Once again guys, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed these stories of entitled people. It's been a while since we've done one, so I hope you really did enjoy it, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys. Much love to you. Goodbye.